Welcome to day 23 of your yoga practice. Sometimes two people can see the same thing and interpret it completely differently. So, why does this happen? It's because we all have our own filters of how we see the world based on where we grew up, what's happened to us throughout our lives. So today we're going to do some twists so we can see things a little bit differently. Let's get started. Come to your mat and we'll start in all fours. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips, about hip width distance apart. So bring your chest and tailbone up as you breathe in. As you breathe out, draw your chin towards your chest, tuck in your tailbone. And just taking care today as we practice to take care of your spine. So come to all fours position. Plant your hands into the earth, curl your toes, lift your knees off the ground, then bring your hips high and back to downward dog. Let your neck relax. When you're ready to take a breath in, look to your hands, walk your feet up to your hands to come to halfway lift. So have a really flat back, crown of your head forward. Your hands could be on your thighs or your shins. Now bend your knees a lot and forward fold. Let your spine extend and your neck relax. Now press your feet into the earth and slowly rise up, keeping your chin tucked. And then when you rise up, bring your arms out and up. And then bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. Take a deep breath in, bring your arms out and up, and then hinge and fold with your hands going through your heart. Tense your fingers. We're going to step our right foot back into a low lunge. From here, plant your right hand and bring your left hand up to the sky. Now plant your left hand, step your left foot back into downward dog. Look to your hands, walk your feet up to come to halfway lift. Hinge and forward fold, and then press into the ground to rise up. Bring your arms out and up, and then bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. Take a full deep breath in, arms out and up, stretching, extending. And then bring your hands through your heart as you fold. Tense your fingers, step your left foot back into low lunge. Now plant your left hand and bring your right hand. You could even bring your right hand to your hip or your right hand up to the sky. And then bring your right hand down. Step your right foot back into downward dog. Look to your hands, walk your feet up to your hands to come to halfway lift. Hinge and forward fold, and then press into the ground to rise up. Bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. Now take a full deep breath in. Hinge and forward fold, tense your fingers, step your right foot back, and have your feet stepped back in two tracks. So your feet are about hip width distance apart. Now we're going to press into our left foot to rise up into a high lunge. So bring your hands to your hips. You might need to adjust your feet to get your balance, maybe bringing your right foot up a little bit so that you have your balance. So from here, standing on the tippy toe of your back foot, you could bring your arms to your chest, and we're just going to bring our right arm forward and our left hand. You could have your left hand on your hips or bring your left hand back, being careful for your shoulder. Now come back to center with your hands on your hips, and then step your right foot up, and then we'll take a freedom breath here. Arms out and up, deep inhale, expanding your spine. Bring your hands to your heart. Now we're going to sink down into chair pose. So plop your butt a little back, your hands at your chest. You can stay here, or you can bring your right elbow towards your right knee. So just a little bit of a twist, maybe just a tiny twist to the left. Or you could squat down a little bit further. and have your hands pressing together. So find a position that feels good for you, and then come back to center and then press up. Bring your hands to your heart. And now we're going to step our right foot back, once again into that high lunge position, finding a track where you have a stable base. And you could stay here, or you can bring your right hand back and your left hand forward. Maybe your right hand stays on your hip. Noticing where your breath is, still keeping your spine long as you twist. And then come back to center. Step your right foot to meet your left. Sink into chair. Feel the quivering of your thighs. So you could stay here, or you could bring your left elbow towards your right knee. And just a tiny twist, or you could even go a little bit further. So you're pressing your hands together, and then come back to center and rise up. Feel the release. Extend your spine. Bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. Now we'll come into all fours, and we'll just sink into child's pose. You could have your knees wide or close together, and bring your arms either in front of you, forward stretching. If that's too much for your shoulders, you can always bring your arms alongside you. And then press yourself up, and we'll come to a seated position. Bring your legs out in front of you, and then we're going to come onto our backs. So roll slowly down, bring your knees up to your chest, place your hands on your knees, and just give your spine a nice massage by moving back and forth. And then we'll come into our resting position. So stretch your arms long one way and your feet the other. So once again, feeling that lengthening in your spine, and then come to a position where you can rest. It could be Shavasana with your palms up, your legs slightly spread. But the most important thing is find a position where you can find stillness for the last bit of our practice. So feel yourself settling in. Notice where you're holding tension, and just start to let that tension go. And you can use your breath to help do that. So if you notice that there's tension in some part of your body, take a breath in and become aware of that tension. And then as you exhale, let that area relax. Take a moment as you're resting here to think about a time when you saw something differently from somebody else. Maybe it's something political, or just a disagreement about how to do something. And as you're resting here, take a moment to see if you can see things from their perspective. It might mean taking a closer look at where they're coming from, what filter they're seeing it through. And then take a step back and notice the filter that you're looking through. And you don't have to solve this dilemma right now, but just take a moment in curiosity, no judgment, just noticing. Come back to your breath, noticing your inhales and exhales. When you're ready, roll on to your right side and take a moment in gratitude, thanking yourself for taking time for your self-care, taking time to see things maybe from a slightly different angle. And when you're ready, press yourself up to a seated position. Draw your hands to your heart, and we'll take a last breath as a class together. Take a full, deep inhale through your nose, and then let the air out through your mouth. Thank you so much for practicing today. Namaste.